So now sliding back to that work we partnered with TVB on, when we asked about those who typically watch TV or, and we watched them sort of how they watch it, the people who were TV only tended to watch live only. That was kind of their focus. Whereas the online people and the people who were online and TV tended to wait and delay that viewing. So they either watched within 3 days, or if you look at the online only people, watch more than a week later. So they actually have extended it out, and that was, some of that was that phenomenon I talked about, creating a library of their favorite show and then watching multiple episodes at a time. So sitting down on an afternoon and watching it en masse. We also asked about, okay, so why? Why do you choose one over the other? And there's probably, again, no surprise in some of these. For people who preferred TV, they preferred it on the quality. So picture quality, certainly HD, 3D, sound quality, view the show as soon as it's released, so that sense of, you know, I want to be there when it first comes out, and just the overall viewing experience. And certainly we know that the technology has been working hard to make that even better. But then you look at some of the reasons why people might go online. It was obviously the convenience, watch the show when I want, on my own time. You know, convenience came up several times in terms of why they would go that route. Other than drama, people said they really don't care as far as program type. They'll have no preference really, whether they watch it online or on television. Drama, different story. Interesting. This is a bit of an eye chart, but I think it is really opens one's eyes about advertising. When we asked about advertising, the cross-platform viewers actually had better responses to ads, whether we were talking to the online people, which was very high, quite frankly, or the ones that were both TV and online. Generally speaking, they felt they were more relevant, they enjoyed them more. I think it's pretty rare to see a 50% response on I enjoy watching commercials. It doesn't happen very often. So again, opportunity. If I can create a video commercial or a video, some content and go to some advertisers and have video commercials in there that people are engaged with and find an attachment to the brand, that drives success. That means this show will be successful and there'll be support for the show. And I think that that is really, really exciting, quite frankly. The other thing we found, and I've got about 3 charts on this, was we think there's, and this will be good news, I think, I hope, for the broadcasters in the room who have online efforts, that there's money being left on the table. In other words, you know, when we talk to broadcasters right now, I think the average is about 3.5 minutes of commercial time in video. People said, you know, we'll accept more than that. We'll accept probably 5 minutes when we looked at all respondents. If it was the TV and online people, they said, well, you know, probably about 5.5 is okay. And then, of course, the online only people were more discretionary. No, I'd like it only to be 4 minutes. But the point being, there probably is room to carry more advertising. Again, it has to be engaging, and again, it has to be interesting. But we saw from the slide before, people are actually responding very well to advertising inside those videos, inside the content that's packaged up for video. And I think one of the great things that's happening with video, and you're going to see much more of this, is there's a whole bunch of different types of new placements for video coming out that will run inside your content. Mid-roll, post-roll, side roll, upside down roll. There'll be all kinds of things that you've never heard of that are going to come out in the next little while that are being experimented with. I think part of the challenge is going to be there's a need for some standardization, much like the standard 30-second spot in television, and that will come. There's a maturity thing that has to happen here in the digital video industry that will help drive the industry even further. When last question in this section, when we asked about the location for watching TV shows, we split this into three segments, the total sample, TV only, and then TV and online. You can see how it broke down in terms of where they actually consumed the content. So some of that, you know, in the TV and online bucket, which was pretty intriguing. You see the hotel consumption. You also see some of the other things that were going on in terms of bar consumption or outside the home, which has always been a bugaboo for television measurement for many years. But just where is this happening? How is this being consumed? Okay, a couple quick points on delivery. So I know, advertising carries maybe a connotation, but advertising does fuel what we all want to do in terms of getting commercial support for content. One of the things we've seen, this is no big surprise, is that TV alone has hit a plateau. And there is, and always has been, a diminishing return for any media. The curve starts to bend. The further you go out, the more you spend doesn't mean the more you get a return. And in fact, effective reach, so in the case of television, over 3+ frequency, starts to really drop on that law of diminishing returns. No big surprise if you add media, and for years there's been a concept in media called the media multiplier effect, which was taught a long time ago, and many of you were, I'm sure. It's no big surprise that online is filling some of that gap. And if you remember some of the charts I showed earlier about the younger demographics, it's filling the gap in there a lot more because their consumption is in that sector or in that distribution channel even more markedly. So this is simply a chart to say if you took $10,000 and you split it a little bit differently, you could increase the delivery, and that's a good thing. Because if you want to get that message out, whether it's a promotion for a program or a piece of content, or it's actually content or commercial running in content, you really want to do the best possible job. The other little thing, and this is partial, I guess not partial, a real soapbox for us as a company and for me, and one of the things about the digital industry is there's still a lot of things that have to be developed and come clean, is that traditionally, when you looked at a digital program, what is actually happening is the ad server is measuring delivery to machines and browsers. That's what ad servers do. They don't deliver to people. And the last time I checked, browsers and machines don't buy anything. One of the things we're trying to do as a company is set the record straight and start to measure campaigns and their delivery to people. What that means and can mean is when you deliver to machines, and what we've seen an awful lot is you get the chart in red. You get an awful lot of people exposed once and an awful lot of people exposed 10 times. And I can tell you what that does. Not a lot. Or it pushes people away. Either extreme. What you really want to do is be in the middle, in a 3+, or in the digital world, a 5+ range where you're actually getting the message through. So lots of work to do there. Certainly this is a very quick thing that I want you, if I leave you with nothing else, I want you to remember this. Use the right ruler. Measuring digital by clicks is for direct marketing when you have a call to action. It's not for branding. So if you're promoting a program or you're promoting a movie, do not measure it based on how many people click through unless there is a specific call to action. Here's my best example. So 1 out of 1,000 impressions, let's see if I can get this little picture to work. 1 of 1,000 impressions results in a click. Does this guy's click effectively measure the impact of everything else that you've done? I don't think so. In fact, we've proven it. And I invite you, if you are so interested, to go to our website, download a paper called Wither the Click. It's been there for a while. I think I might even mentioned it last year. We've done a bunch of things. That if you talk about simple display advertising, okay, I'm not talking about video, which is even more effective. I'm not talking about some of the new things. Simple display advertising, it will have an effective approach on brand metrics. So awareness, interaction with a brand, favorability to a movie. It has a favorable effect. Clicks and ad click-through has no correlation. None. Don't use the wrong ruler, because you're really going to hurt yourself and you're really not going to help the cause and help your learning. So optimizing for high click rates, if it's a DM, I get it. If it's a direct marketing effort, no problem. I get it totally. Not if you're trying to raise a brand and raise a profile. So the world is changing. Actually, I would say it already has. Actually, are you prepared? This is some work that the IAB in Canada did in 2008. Listen closely, because there's going to be some new data on mobile for 09 very soon. But you can see what happened. Again, still relatively small dollars. Some of you would laugh at the size of these dollars, but don't laugh at the percent change. I dare you to laugh at the percent change. From 2007 to 2008, and as I said, look carefully at what the 09 numbers are, because I would hypothesize they're going to grow again in a huge kind of way. Mobile content had phenomenal growth, so 2,000%. As I said, huge percentage increases. The smartphone, and probably almost everybody in this room has one, has really changed the world that we live in. And the iPhone's part of that, and certainly what Google's done with Android, which is another hot issue at the Mobile Congress in Spain, and the open platform has really driven it. We are now in this world of 3 screens plus. Plus the pad, plus who knows, I was saying to Mark this morning, who knows what's coming next? All I know for sure, there's something else that's coming in the next 6 to 12 months. For us, and I believe for you, the challenge is to measure the effect and the delivery across all of it. And that's certainly where we're going as a company. It's not only about measuring PC web, it's not only about measuring mobile web, it's not even about measuring television, which by the way is digital. It's about measuring the whole effect all across all those platforms. Probably one of the more interesting comments about mobile commerce that Jonathan Rosenberg said from Google at the end of last year, mobile commerce and the whole mobile, in his mind, the key to unlocking it was making it easier for people to search and consummate a transaction on that mobile device. As smartphones become ubiquitous and local businesses put their inventory online, his belief was this will be the year, 2011. Certainly we're going to be making every effort here in Canada. We will be launching a mobile measurement service in May in Canada and start understanding how Canadians access mobile content, how they access applications, how they access browser content. But I have a few slides here that I want to share with you that are literally hot off the press. If you saw CNN yesterday, these were shown, but this is the second time they've actually been shown. When you talk about mobile content, social networking, get that out, ranked as the fastest growing content area. Certainly people are doing email and they're checking weather, no big surprise. But also retail, which I think is a surprise. I think a lot of people don't really think that people will use that mobile device for retail, or that you could build ideas with advertiser partners that might help them on a localized basis with what they have to do, which is move products and services out of stores. In fact, it is growing at plus 53% year over year in terms of mobile content. Mobile's role in retail in terms of its growth is growing along with the capabilities of the phone. So security is going to be, I'll come back to that in a second, it is still an issue on people's minds, but that is going to go away. Technology will solve that, as it has in some other areas, and smartphone adoption. And you look on the right-hand side of this chart, the smartphone penetration trend by platform, whether you're talking RIM, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Palm, Symbian, they're all pretty much growing. RIM's not growing as much as some of the other ones, but they're all growing. And phenomenal increases when you look at, on the left-hand side, the reach for search, retail search versus the fixed internet. Pretty flat, but people searching off that phone is actually increasing. So searching for either retail or searching for other things. If you are thinking about building, certainly for m-commerce, so working with a partner and having a commerce part of that, consumers are still opting to go to the browser over the app. Distinctly higher rates of usage, accessing m-commerce off the browser, a mobile browser route versus an application. And certainly, I mean, another research moment, more off the smartphone than the non-smartphone.